Hey guys, this is Boris Lasser from BK Forex. Welcome to the trade setup for 1/18/2013. As always, past performance not indicative of future results. Trading Forex carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors, and a high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to trade any such leveraged products, you should carefully consider your investment objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite, and the possibility exists that you could sustain loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with trading on margin and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. The information, including commentary and trade ideas provided by bkforex.com, should not be relied upon as a substitute for extensive independent research, which should be performed before making your investment decisions. BK Forex LLC and BKForex.com are merely providing this information for your general information, and the information and opinions presented here do not take into account particular individual investment objectives, financial situation, or needs, and all investors should obtain such advice based on their own unique situation. We're not responsible for any losses incurred in investments made by readers and clients as a result of the information on BK Forex LLC, and we do not render investment, legal, tax, or accounting or other professional advice, and such advice is sought. You should seek counsel from professional on that matter. I want to start right now with, where is it? Here we go. With the calendar, because obviously this is right before, we are 1 hour before the big event of the night in FX, the Chinese GDP data, basically the data dump out of China with GDP, industrial production, retail sales, and everything else. Let me just move this over a little bit so you guys can see. Let me just extend this out, sorry. Because I wanted to show you the data sets. Basically, market is looking for relatively buoyant build. We're looking for a 7.8 against a 7.4. So if we print anything lower than that, it could be a pretty serious downside surprise. The preliminary read is that because the trade data was so strong, the assumption is that the GDP should be stronger, or at least in line with the 7.8 print. You never know with Chinese data at how it's going to print. I think almost no one really has a serious idea of what the numbers are. But I do think that if the number is negative, or at least worse than expected, it should create a pretty serious downdraft. I'll show you the charts in just a second, because we've had such a massive up move today that a pretty big disappointment could probably take us down on profit taking. Aside from that, the other big event, retail sales at 4 o'clock, 4:30 New York time in UK. Again, market looking for a little bit of a better bump, but UK data has been very weak, so possible consideration that UK data could be much weaker. And then finally, we have the preliminary U of M sentiment coming out tomorrow. Last read was kind of weak. We'll see if we had a bump back up this week. It'll be actually interesting to see. Excuse me, this month. It'll be interesting to see if the increase in payroll taxes and all of the tension around the budget negotiations had a negative impact on consumer sentiment, or whether it actually bounced off those lows. So let's take a look at the charts, because obviously the market is really setting up. As a matter of fact, I think I want to start with the yen chart first, because everything is going to depend on Chinese GDP, and I think that's going to be one of the more material impacts. We took out the 90 handle, and clearly that's the big number that everybody was looking at. If you look at this on the longer charts, let's go to weeklies, and you can go like 3 years. You see this has been the best number in literally 3 years that we took out. Very strong move. But this also is coming into this whole area here that kind of acted pretty much as support resistance. So basically, former support could be current resistance as we coming in. I have been skeptical of further movement in this rally. I thought, yes, we could take out 90, but beyond that, it's going to be much more difficult for the pair to move. Today was this is a weekly chart, and you can see it's a very strong move on our weeklies as well. But if you count this, we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 consecutive up weeks. It's a very strong rally, and it clearly requires, if not a correction, at least some sort of a pause before it re-engages with the market. So I think this 90 level could be a very serious level of resistance, and therefore, if we get any kind of negative data, obviously it gives us an opportunity to take us down. Let's take a look at the. Let me look at just very short-term charts. Look at the 30-minute charts and refocus a little bit, and look at the numbers here. So we're took out 90 in North America, took out 90 in Asia. Certainly, good numbers could take us higher, but a break below 89.50 here on, let's say, a negative Chinese data really could pull us very quickly down to 89 on profit taking. So to me, the yen trade here is, if we break the 89.50, I think the short to 89 could be an interesting trade idea as we go into the night. Euro acting sort of similar in a different fashion. This 34 level has been a big resistance for for the euro. This has been the triple, I believe, 1, 2, 3, almost a quadruple level of resistance. We failed here once, failed here twice. Came up barely, couldn't even quite make it above the 34 level. Couldn't quite make it today, actually. Went to 33.85, but really haven't been able to cut through it. So again, move down here to 33.50s does take us possibly all the way to 33 as it gives a double top unwind. This is obviously a risk negative scenario. If we get positive numbers out of China, it could be runaway horses. So the one currency pair that has not at all responded to this positive risk momentum has been the pound, which has been just doing nothing but scraping bottom. Today's lows were around 53, 54, 59, 53. A break here really opens us up to even further declines all the way out. If you look at the larger charts, let me just show you the large charts. Larger charts basically show no support here. Once the 59.50 breaks all the way down to 58 or 58.50, whatever. So it's a pretty negative construct on the pound. Even as I'm looking at the charts here right now, ahead of the Chinese data, it's not acting like it really wants to run up. And of course, if you get negative UK data, that could just simply be salt on a wound. Now, Aussie is at a juncture also very critical. Yesterday's employment numbers were bad. This is a daily chart, so let me just come back to a more immediate chart. Yesterday's employment numbers took us down to 105, but we found support at 105. Rally back up to 105.50, again starting to fail a little bit here at the 105.50. The critical thing here is obviously Aussie will be the most vulnerable to weak Chinese data. If we break the 105 again, we have possibly further to go here, going back out on longer term charts. Let's just go to 4 hours because I think you can see it better here. If we break the 105 here, then the next level of support really doesn't come in until around 104.50 as the initial level, and really doesn't come until a spike low at 104. So an unwind in the Aussie could be kind of ugly. We've sort of been distributing above the 106. Now this obviously assumes a negative scenario. A positive scenario could really create, I think, an unexpected short squeeze, and certainly could take us up through 106, which is something that I think few people expect. And a takeout of 106 to the upside could create a cascade effect that could push us all the way to 106.50. So there's volatility both ways here if we get some kind of a surprise. If everything is in line, I frankly don't know. At that point, I think all bets are off. It's really hard to trade something that's going to be essentially in line because you're not going to get very much directional cues out of it. So Euro Yen, let's just take a look at the crosses just again. Euro Yen also at this 120 level, same as Dollar Yen at 90, starting to come up, in my opinion, against a pretty serious resistance level. Again, watching this, a breakdown below 120 towards the 19.50 basically creates a double top formation and could redistribute all the way back down to 117 if we get negative yen flows. The last pair is, of course, the darling of the week, Euro Swiss. Continues to fly. Look at this. I mean, it's just unstoppable. I thought 125 would really be some sort of a pause here, but it's not. And this is actually, in many ways, kind of an interesting point. And I think the reason why is because probably so many people were focused on 125 that it's really not going to quit until everybody gives up. And that may be as high as 125.50 or 126 before it finds any kind of resistance to the downside. So interesting to watch this, I think, but certainly those who are short, kind of painful to watch it because there is no stop in sight, even though it looked like it was very serious resistance. I mean, look at this on a 3-year basis. We just took out effectively 3-year resistance here by taking out a 25.19 in Asia session, nonetheless. Be interesting to see, actually, by the way. I think in many ways this is also obviously a front-running bet on strong Chinese data, because let's say if Chinese data comes in weak, then you have the whole unwind of the supposition that Europe could recover, because if Chinese data doesn't provide strong growth, who's Europe going to export to? How are they going to grow? I think all of those fears start to ricochet through the market. Perhaps we get a correction. If we don't, then obviously the price action here has just been unstoppable. So anyways, that's pretty much how the day shapes up. Last day of the week should be very interesting and very exciting. Wishing you guys the best of luck. Let's see you guys at bkforex.com. Boris Schlossberg over and out.